back again with the second game of Botvinnik's dominance. And this game is more classical Botvinnik. He plays the English, which was one of his favorite openings, and he quickly transposes into a Queen's Gambit. And you guys have seen this before. We practiced this opening. Now, it's been played, we got about another decade. We got 100 years in the books with this game. So it looks very, very similar to what we trained with the Queen's Gambit. Rook c1 is by and large the more popular move. Typically players want to wait around here. Like you want to play Queen c2 and then like Rook d1 or Rook c1. And the main reason why is if Black decides to take here, your bishop is able to take in one go. And notice I have the queen and bishop developed, right? So if you play bishop d3 here straight away and he takes, notice how the queen's not developed. See the difference between the two positions when I bounce back and forth? I tricked him into getting an extra move. Or if I'm playing Black, I made him waste a move by moving the same piece twice. Remember when we talked about the three advantages of time, material, quality? There's that time advantage. How the little sneaky things that are hard to understand is how these players pick up some time and get you. But Botvinnik's esteemed opponent was like, nah, I ain't going to do that. I'm not going to make sense today. I'm going to play c5. Botvinnik says, okay, I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to castle and develop all minor pieces. I'm going to maintain a pawn in the center. Even the best players in the world are not going to get away from the standard and typical rules. So c takes d4, and he gets that tempo, and what we have is called an isolated pawn position. Why do you think it's called that? Anybody? It's not that the pawns are unable to move. Does this guy have a brother pawn that can protect him? So he's alone, which is his synonym, isolated. Okay, so we got the isolated pawn. Now the thing about these positions you have to understand, because this is a classical position in chess, is Black's pawn structure is better than White's. It's what's called pawn islands. This is an island. This is an island. Black has 2. White has 3, meaning that's going to be a target. The more you trade down, so say imagine a situation where we trade off magically like Thanos did the snap, all of these minor pieces are gone. I wish I could like edit the video and do that, but I'm not gonna go all the way. But you know I'm dropping Thanos as a tag in this video. That's what's up. So, Marvel Comics, yeah. If all of these pieces are gone, Black has the better position because I'm just gonna pile up on the D pawn. All 3 of my heavy pieces, the rooks and the queen, all going to attack. Then White's, all of his pieces are going to be defending. And we've learned in chess that if you're only defending, it's a lot like boxing. You can't win. You got to hit the other guy. So White's going to be left with this weakness. So we understand the plan and the position for Black. So the converse is, White's plan in the position is going to be to try to keep pieces on the board, to protect that pawn, and to find compensation elsewhere. So you're going to notice in this game, because this is a classical game, White is going to be going after Black's king. That's the plan. So let's see it. Knight b6. So Black is making a lot of sense. He goes tickle tickle on the bishop, and the bishop's like, no, no, no. And this knight is looking to sink down on the square, because if I sit in front of your pawn, you can't push the pawn to get rid of the weakness. So Black goes, all right, bishop d7. And this is, according to Botvinnik's notes, this is the beginning of the risky plan that starts White's prospects for a kingside attack. Probably better was the immediate just sink down knight b to d5. But we wouldn't have this beautiful game if his opponent didn't play bishop d7. So queen d3. And now we're already seeing how he's starting this queen and bishop battery. If you can take there, it's going to be checkmate. All right, see the straightforward plan? Now, he goes there. So let's get another guy closer to the action, attacking key squares around the king. Bishop c6. Now black has completed development. Both sides have finished the opening. Not quite sure what black's plan is yet, though. He's just kind of solid, waiting. Rook a d1, just in case things change. We want that rook in the center. Knight b4. A second mistake, after which white's attack becomes tremendously strong. Yeah. So after knight b4, queen h3. The queen is still eyeing this square, and now it's just not being attacked by the knight. Bishop d5. He's like, "Sir, would you like to trade the bishop so your bishop can't attack me?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll trade, but I'm going to trade with the piece that's not doing anything right now in the position. I'm going to keep my bishop to attack you later." f4. Now we've got ideas of this pawn pushing, because if this pawn isn't here, it could magnify the strength of the bishop towards the king. Plus, it gets the rook actively involved with helping in the position. Notice white's piece harmony. All of white's pieces are helping with the attack and doing something. This is a very, very important concept in chess. When you have harmony, it's a lot like having a solid baseball team or basketball team. Imagine that baseball team where all the fielders are there, but you got 3 outfielders that anytime a ball's hit out there, these guys are chasing butterflies. And when the ball's hit there, it's a home run because the guy can just clear the bases every time. You got to have people paying attention, doing their jobs. Harmony is having everybody on the team work together, and you got to have it for an excellent game. Rook c8, f5. Now we're getting everybody involved in the attack. Takes, rook takes, and then queen d6, losing immediately. The only move was rook c7, after which white would increase pressure against f7 by doubling his rook. Okay, now let's see the fireworks. Not too many moves left in the game. Botvinnik throws this beat down. Knight takes f7, a sacrifice which kind of comes like a bolt from the blue, comes out of nowhere. Rook takes. Let's remove the guard. Now, here's a key point. If the knight moves, it unleashes the bishop towards the king. So that's going to become weak. And also, any sacrifice is with that rook moving, that rook's going to be hit by our queen. So see, like, just nasty tactics. Remember the quote by Fisher. I like to say it often in my videos. Tactics flow from a superior position. If this isn't a superior position, I don't know what is. Bishop takes. Rook takes d5. Now notice the queen's being hit. His rook's being hit. So he's going to try to make a move to hold on to everything. Okay, he defends his queen, defends his rook at the same time. But here comes the pain. Rook d6. He says, take my rook. So I'm going to take yours on the back rank. So say, for instance, if queen takes d6, I'm going to take there. And it is fine to trade down because this is an easily won endgame, rook versus bishop. I'm just going to bring my king up to help usher this pawn to make a new lady. And then we're going to win. Make things happen. So in the main game, after rook d6, queen e8 was played. And now this is one of my favorite moves. Rook d7, because this rook cannot move. We've added pressure to it. There's no way for black to defend. He's going to be losing material guaranteed. Botvinnik's opponent had had enough in this position and resigned. This is a typical Botvinnik game where he just does everything right. His opponent's just making moves. It looks like he's doing some stuff okay. Botvinnik gets an opportunity. You're done. You're done.